A lot of headlines yesterday. A lot of people picked up the commissioner, Adam Silver, who was with us, and I felt the interview was slipping away. He was talking about, there was a lot of PR there that he wanted to get out, get some positives, remind people. I mean, there's a reason why he came on. I've known him for over 30 years. I knew him when he worked for NBA Entertainment. He was doing production there, and now the commissioner. But I could tell that I was running out of time, and I wasn't getting anything from him. And he was going to talk about some things. He had bullet points. And then I said, all right, now I got to interrupt him or make it rapid fire. And then that's when I said, give me some of the crazy ideas that come across your desk. And he had this to say.
Something else that I'm a fan of, and I'm probably in a minority, as we get more involved in global basketball, the NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes. And I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters. I'm not sure that many others are. I mean, putting aside what it means for records and things like that, I think that a 2-hour format for a game is more consistent with sort of modern television habits. I don't think people in arenas aren't asking us to shorten the game, but I think as a television program, being 2 hours, that's Olympic basketball, is 2 hours. College basketball, of course, is
yeah. But
is
if
40
you
minutes.
like it, I'd say it has kind of a little bit of a push there.
Yeah, but it's such a dramatic change to the game. I mean, I think something like that would have to be talked more about over time.
And once again, that's a wild idea. He did say he's in favor of it. He didn't say it's going to be on the agenda, with the owners' meetings or the competition committee. He was just throwing out some things. He was talking about, maybe you award 2 free throws if you're fouled on a 3-point attempt. But social media said, oh, why don't you have your players play every game? Why don't you get rid of the 3-point shot? So this is a global sport. I mean, players coming over from all over to play, and that's what they play, 10-minute quarters. The Olympics, 10-minute quarters. And what he's saying is, can I get my guys to play more games? Maybe the games are more intense, and maybe we don't have load management. And maybe it's more of a consumable product, that it's 2 hours in length. So they have to think of these things. I mean, Rob Manfred came up with the pitch clock. We don't even talk about it now. We're fine with it, right? Everything's okay. Even the kickoff in the NFL, as goofy as it looks, okay, we have more returns on kickoffs, which is what we wanted here. I mean, this isn't outlandish that he's saying, hey, 4 10-minute quarters. Well, Mike Malone and the Nuggets were at the Garden last night against the Knicks, and he slammed this possibility. He said before the game that I hope we don't go to 10-minute quarters. He says, I hope that we don't go to a 4-point line. Nobody said anything about that. I hope we don't become Barnum and Bailey when we just have to do what we have to do to keep viewership. Because there's history and greatness in this game, and it's purity in this game. I hope we can find a way to stay true to that. Okay, that's a big leap by the head coach of the Nuggets. We got to be open-minded about all of this, and these coaches should be too. Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks head coach, he didn't like it either. All the commissioner said, he answered a question about kind of the crazy things that come across his desk. He didn't say, hey, this is going to happen. He didn't say that. But the headlines don't matter. And if you put it in context of what he's saying, hey, I'm a fan of this, but he's just one guy. Here's the Knicks head coach, Tom Thibodeau.
I'm probably more traditional, so I'd hate to see that. And that's just a person. I really haven't thought about it just because of all the records and things of that nature. So I think we have a great game. I think what people really want to see is competition. So when you study what's transpired, over time, there's always been different styles of play. So the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, but what goes into winning is the same. And I think what the fans enjoy is great competition. So I think if we focus on the competition aspect of it, everything else will fall into place.
Okay. We have romanticized the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. That we were younger and, oh, man, did they play? It was physical back then. It wasn't good basketball. First team to 90, you won. It was bad. The Knicks and the Cavs, bad basketball. Physical, bad basketball. Even going back to the 70s, when I was watching, I mean, in my mind, God, it was awesome. But if I went back and looked at it now, and I would probably say, God, they miss a lot of shots, or there's no movement there. There's no athleticism. I mean, whatever the criticisms would be. But I think you got to be open-minded. And what records are we worried about that Coach Tibbs was talking about? What records? Now, if there's incentive clauses in your contracts, okay, then maybe we'll have to modify those. But I don't think you can look, if you're a commissioner nowadays, and look, we got more offense than we've ever had in the NBA. Why do people have a problem with the NBA? You got offense. You got guys shooting threes. But what is it that people don't like? What league added more offense and we go, nah, too much? I don't know. Too many threes. I don't like it because I've seen basketball be played where you can incorporate the three, just not be reliant on the three. And that you're seeing players take threes who shouldn't be taking threes. Not everybody is meant to do that. But it'd be like me saying to a pitcher, don't throw 100. You know what's best if you don't throw 100? You may last a little longer. Or, hey, don't be swinging for home runs. I mean, I don't know how to cap the threes. Or, hey, you only get to swing really hard one time. Or you can only throw over 101 pitch. Like, that's what, I mean, baseball is, you throw it, you hit it. Now, they've tried to add more. They got the stolen base back. I mean, but that's because you have to be open-minded. Now, I'm not thrilled about it, but I love that he shared that. And then everybody's going to think that it's going to somehow be put into law next season, where all he wants to do is get reaction. You gather information. All right, maybe we can't do that. But he's thinking about those things. And he's also looking at, how we consume basketball is through social media. You're not watching games, but he's not worried about that as much as, are you consuming some part of the game? And these networks are waiting in line to give them billions of dollars. Somebody's making money. Somebody's watching this. And it's a global sport. Like 7 of the 10 best players aren't even from the United States. This is a global audience as well. And you may not like it, but it might be one of those things when it happens, you don't even think about when it's successful. Yes, Marvin.
I think the biggest thing that hurts the NBA is what everyone's thinking, load management, where they say, hey, coming up, the Lakers played the Suns. I don't know if LeBron and Kevin Durant are playing. There was a 4-year stretch where the teams they were on, they didn't play, like either one of them.
But this might help that. Like, that's what I thought. Maybe it helps with load management. If you take off go from 48 to 40, what's that going to mean per season for teams? And it's probably, I think he said 15 games that you'd be taking. You'd still play 82 games, but the amount of time would amount to 15 games. Maybe you get players who will play, and maybe there won't be load management. Yeah, Paulie.
If you look at the NBA and how it became a global sport, you remember it's before your time as well. The NBA was secondary to college basketball for decades. In 1951, they made the lane 12 feet. It used to be 6 feet, right? In 1954, they added a 24-second shot clock. Would he have been against that at the time to speed up the game and add all the scoring? Yeah. They added the three-point line after the merger with the ABA. All these things happen, and I'm sure in the moment, your instant reaction is, don't change anything. But you never get to the next level without change in any sport.
I would bring back the red, white, and blue basketball that the ABA had. Like, if you really want to showcase, your kids would love that. Just seeing the rotation going through the air. But, once again, you got coaches like Michael Malone who doesn't want a circus out there. It can be a circus in a variety of ways, but I think you got to be open-minded to it. And that's all the commissioner was saying. Hey, I like this idea, but people ran with it as if to say, oh my gosh, that he wants to do this. That's stupid. Yes, Marv.
I think the only question the players are going to have is, do we still get paid the same?
They will.
Right.
It's still the same number of games. This is what's going to happen. Mark my words. The first player who gets paid $1 million a game and then sits out a game, the reaction is going to be a blowtorch, because you get paid $1 million to not play. Then it's going to crystallize for people. They're going to have this moment where they go, damn, he's getting $1 million. Now, a football player plays 17 games. You add to the playoffs. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem if Patrick Mahomes is getting paid $1 million a year to play in that game, or $2 million, because the careers aren't long and you're going to only be playing 17, 18, 19 games. Basketball, that's where you get, I'd play for free. Yeah, okay. But when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes $82 million, I want to know, I watch the reaction when now maybe he doesn't sit out games. By the way, I think he had 54 last night. Yes, Mark.
Relax. You only have 52.
52, my bad. Yes, Todd.
But even with the load management, and you buy tickets to a game and you don't even know if your top players are going to play, and the cost of parking and food and jerseys and everything, people are still showing up. It hasn't gotten to the point where such a little amount of fans are showing up to games where they're losing significant money, where the owners are like, we got to lower the prices. We got to make sure these guys play more because no one's coming anymore. So somehow they're making money enough to pay all these players. So these fans are complaining, but they're still tuning in. According to Adam Silver, the ratings are about the same as last year, is what he was selling.
Okay, then why would he be suggesting this if there wasn't an issue? He's looking towards the future here. If everything's great, then don't award 2 free throws on a missed three-pointer that you get fouled. Don't think about making it 40 minutes. If everything's great, it's like everything's great in here. I don't go, you know what? I think I need to make a change with the Danettes. Like, I'm not, it doesn't make any sense. If everything is great, then fine. But you have to be forward thinking if you're a commissioner. You have to be. Because everybody's looking for their spot. There's only so much time in a day or in a week or a month or a year, and the NFL encroaches on everybody. And that's what all of these commissioners, you have college football right now, the Big Ten and the SEC, and the other commissioners, but really it's those two, talking to Commissioner Roger Goodell. They want to work with the NFL to say, can you help us have our standalone national title game? So it's not later, it's after the AFC, NFC title game or divisional game. That's what's happening. You have to partner up. You have to understand your place on the sports landscape. And I think that's all Adam Silver did. He's just looking. What do we do? How do we do it? When do we do it? Do we do anything? Do we raise the basket? Do we lower the basket? I mean, not lower the basket. Do we widen the floor? Like, guys are so big. If you watch a game in person, you're like, how does everybody fit on the offense or defensive side of the ball? Like, there's not enough room. I think if you can get in the corner, I don't even know. Like, some guys probably can't even shoot threes in there because they can't get their feet in bounds. Yes, Marvin.
Unrelated but kind of related. NBA players are enormous. A.J. Brown was at the at the Lakers game. He looked like a little person next to LeBron, or Tyrese Maxey. Steph Curry and Myles Garrett are the same height. Like, these guys are enormous humans, and now you want to have them sit in a corner where their feet barely touch.
I saw Conor McGregor with Brooke Lopez
sizing them up.
Now, I mean, Conor McGregor, you could rest a drink on his head. But still, you saw, boy, that guy, he's the baddest man. And then, you're around him and you go, oh, dang, you're like 5'8". Here's Brooke Lopez, 7 feet tall, staring down. It was funny video.